Take it from me. I rip on Jalen Hurts for specific things, okay? But regardless, he's a winner. Regardless, the Eagles are pulling out wins. And some of the things that were said after this game against Washington were just so out of line. And I think the league just has to recognize that Jalen Hurts is a good quarterback. And I don't think he gets the respect like other quarterbacks kind of, get bailed out because of bad games. And it's ridiculous. We're going to talk about him. We're going to talk about Jake Elliott and the fan speculation, why Nick Sirianni's so aggressive, and talk about Zack Baun because we're getting into dangerous territory where this man is becoming very expensive now. So let's get straight into it.
A killer buried, but not dead.
Darren, we better turn around. Because I've seen enough horror movies to know any weirdo wearing a mask is never friendly.
If I'm the betting man, then I am, and you're rooting for the Philadelphia Eagles, this is the redemption year for Jalen Hurts. This is the year we get the bad taste out of our mouths from last season. If I'm going all in, ride or die with a Super Bowl and bringing that Lombardi trophy back to Philadelphia for a second time, you need to go to BetUS, and I'm not wasting any time with it. I'm putting $500 down as the risk and getting $7,000 back at the end of the year because this offense is going to be explosive. This defense by Vic Fangio is going to be dynamic. A 150% deposit bonus on your first 3 deposits up to $2,000 with code YouTube150. Click the link in the description below. Start betting and start winning. So we have a lot to discuss today for the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm feeling really good right now. We're 8-2. We're sitting there. We can go through a weekend of football this weekend and enjoy ourselves as casual fans, sitting on the couch, doing our thing. But there are some things to talk about here. I think the one thing to talk about is obviously Jalen Hurts. Look, and I'm just one of those guys, okay, that doesn't walk on eggshells, okay? We'll call it how it is. When Jalen Hurts is in a game and he's not playing up to standard, or there's mistakes being made, or it's play calling, or it's anything like that. And I think people take it out of context when I do say bad things about Jalen Hurts, and not in a bad way. If I say something bad about a player, I know they could do better. If I say something bad about a player, I know that, this team could do far so much better with what they have offensively. When it comes to Jalen Hurts, okay, for a guy that, and if I ever crucify him, it's not really crucifying. There's always something to talk about every single game, okay, whether it's good, whether it's bad. And yes, a lot of quarterbacks miss wide open guys. A lot of quarterbacks miss open reads. It happens in games. And obviously some of the play calling has been a question when it comes to the first quarter, the first half of football games for the Philadelphia Eagles. The shit that Ryan Fitzpatrick said, a guy that's done nothing with himself in his career, okay? Ryan Fitzpatrick and his comments on Jalen Hurts after the game, okay? Oh, he hasn't really done anything. The offense, I didn't really like how the offense, I don't think they make it to a Super Bowl because, of one bad game. Really post-bye week, a good year from Jalen Hurts, but post-bye week, this has really been, his worst game maybe of the season, okay? I know, there's always a lot of blame to go around. There was a lot of blame in this game regardless. It's not just Jalen Hurts. There was drop balls from Devontae Smith on the right sideline. There was a drop ball from Jahan Dotson. Yes, there were some times that Jalen Hurts missed some wide open guys. The third down to Devontae Smith. Dallas Goedert was open on the A.J. Brown pass. There was a few things that happened this game, but a lot of quarterbacks make these mistakes. And because it's Jalen Hurts, I don't know why they just don't give him respect. How do they not get respect out of this win? Because obviously it was all about how do the Eagles beat the Washington Commanders this past week. It was really not. It seemed like Washington didn't have a test from all the NFL media. Washington had no tests going into this game. It was, can the Eagles do this? Can the Eagles do that? I don't think the Eagles are getting enough respect. I just think it's funny because, Jared Goff could throw 4 to 5 picks in a game and they completely ignore it. Mahomes can have a comeback win in a game and they completely ignore it. That they came back strong and not that, Mahomes, is he not playing well? They never say that. But with Jalen Hurts in the moment of a game like this is a gritty NFC East battle. it's a gritty battle. Like, we haven't had a game like this in a division game in a while. Obviously, last year, a lot of close, ugly wins by the Eagles, but this is a different year this year. You have a 3-down running back that's taking out, you know, Saquon Barkley is a generational talent that's literally, I think you're 6-4 at this point. I mean, you're 6-4 at this point without Saquon Barkley. In my opinion, I think he's a huge game changer from that signing this past offseason. But part of this whole thing now is, Jalen Hurts can't do this for one game, or he has an issue. At the end of the day, he's clutch. At the end of the day, he's winning football games. There's nothing to take away from Jalen Hurts. Me as a fan, as Eagle fans, every fan base does this. And because I have my face on camera talking about it, and if I talk about the bad things Jalen Hurts did, people always say, oh, well, he won the game. Why do you make a big deal? I understand that, but there's always, like I said, there's always something to talk about. But I've never wanted this guy benched. I've never thought this guy wasn't a winner. I think he's had some bad drives this year. Every quarterback does, but just because I'm discussing it in game and because our emotions are running high during these games, we say things, that are true at that moment, because sometimes things aren't going well on certain sequences, on certain passes. I believe, you have an NFC East battle, a gritty type battle on a short week, and I completely agree that Jalen Hurts had a concussion in this game. I believe it. After that game, he had a couple of mini interviews before his press conference, and he just looked like his mind was completely empty. Like something was going on. I have a feeling. I don't believe I do not believe that he passed concussion protocol 100%, but I think they forced him to play. I think he didn't want to come out of the game regardless. Okay, at which they ran the ball. He got a couple touchdowns with Saquon Barkley in the second half, had a pass to Dallas Goedert. So there was some good things that came out of it, but I don't believe that Hurts didn't have a concussion. I know he did. So I think a lot of things did affect this game. Realistically, both teams had, really the Eagles, I'll just say the Eagles, both teams were on a short week, but the Philadelphia Eagles had a full practice and a walkthrough practice. That's it. They didn't have 6 days, 7 days, 6 days to get prepared for this team. So both offenses, the Eagles and the Commanders, were pretty damn sloppy. Okay, they were very sloppy. When I would never say, oh, well, they're definitely not Super Bowl bound. I'm not the type of guy that's going to fast forward too much. And I think they can go into the playoffs. They can get to an NFC champ. They can get into the Super Bowl with how they're playing right now. But in the Super Bowl, they can't play like this in the first half. Probably not. They gotta be smarter. Obviously, our kicker had a huge problem, which we'll get into in this video. But I don't get why Jalen Hurts doesn't get the respect to be clutch in these games. Other quarterbacks have these comeback wins. As much as I don't like playing from behind, you got to give quarterbacks respect for that. And he got no respect for this game after the game. No respect at all. Okay, in the heat of the moment, yes, missing wide open guys, there's drops. Some of the run, the Eagles tried running the football. They never strayed away from the run. It just didn't work. They were running Saquon Barkley north and south. He was hitting a wall almost every time. And then they changed some things up the running game in the second half. Like, do they have to score points in the first half? Can that, what I mean? I feel like this is 2022 in a weird way, because the Eagles would get these big leads in the first half, and then the defense would play off ball in the second half. But the defense didn't do that at all. The defense was just kept us in this game the whole entire day. We know how great this is, the number one defense in the NFL right now. Okay, so but I hear excuses for other quarterbacks. But what's with Jalen Hurts, man? Jalen Hurts is never going to get his flowers. It's never going to happen unless he gets a ring under his belt. Unfortunately, this is how he's going to get treated every single week. So when you hear me talk about Jalen Hurts in a bad way, it's not because I want him benched. It's not because I don't think he's the future. It's because in the moment, it pisses us off. We are, as Eagle fans, we wear our heart on our sleeve. The emotions come out. This is how we are during football games. This is how I am when I watch a football game. This is how I react in the moment. That's where I'm at. But I know in the second halves of these games, the Eagles always fulfill what they are supposed to do, and they are clutch. And this quarterback is clutch when it matters the most. The only difference is they nearly need to bring some of that in the second half to the first half a little bit and kind of balance the game out instead of playing catch up the entire game. So Ryan Fitzpatrick is a clown, like a lot of others that don't give Jalen Hurts the respect he deserves. And this is a team game at the end of the day. Can't just blame the quarterback. Blame the coaching staff. Blame the drops. Blame something else. Okay? If players aren't executing, that's one thing. But if you have coaches that play call, and obviously some of these route combinations are taking too long to develop, that, you don't have it. They didn't really do a short passing game too much. They threw two slants in the first half. The run game was really non-existent, not that much in the first half. So there's a lot of blame to go around. This is a team game at the end of the day. I will never just blame the quarterback ever, 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 ever. But it's on everybody. And I think what he said was completely ridiculous because other quarterbacks are getting passes for what they do, okay? Because I think the NFC is still wide open. I don't think the Lions have faced a defense like ours. I'm not really afraid of anybody, to be honest with you. I think if we land on all four cylinders, this defense playing the way it is, this offense should just do a little bit better. I think they're unstoppable. I think they're unstoppable to get to the Super Bowl this year, whoever it is, and win their second ring in Eagles history. And that's what I'm looking for, and that's what I want. Okay? So, because, if you don't say anything about Hurts, you get crap from everybody about it. If you say something about Hurts, you still get crap from everybody. It's a lose-lose situation. So I gotta take that stand in the middle. Really, that's where I want to be, because I have to be fair to both sides. Because if it's not the quarterback, it's the coaching staff. It's the coaching staff to the quarterback to the weapons. It affects everybody. And our kicker left 7 points off the board, which we'll get into in our next segment here. Is Jake Elliott really, one of his worst games? And he's usually clutch. Okay. David Akers was on social media, kind of keeping Jake Elliott's, head up a little bit. Knows that he has a lot of success in the league, and, kind of keep his head up. And, you're going to have games like this. It happens. It happens. Okay. There's a lot of fan speculation right now on why, because Jake maybe has been secretly bad all year, that Nick has been that aggressive for that reason. Nick has been going for 2-point conversions and going for it on fourth down so much because maybe he doesn't trust his kicker. But I don't think that's the case, though. I don't think that's the case. I think this is just fan speculated. When your kicker is not used to, and look, in practice you're kicking, but when you're kicking in a game, it's when everything's on the line, your mindset, your body, how you react, it changes in that moment, because at practice you can do whatever you want. But he's not kicking over 40 yards a game. He's not kicking over 50 yards a game, kicking field goals. Okay? If he's not used to doing that, and he's not doing it that much because the Eagles are being overly aggressive in games, it could affect him, no doubt. But to say that Nick is being aggressive only because they think Jake Elliott is a bad player, now, if they go into this Rams game next week and he's missing extra points and he's doing almost the same thing he did last week, then things are going to have to change. Your days as a kicker can be gone like this on an NFL franchise in 2 seconds, because, and I don't want to think that at all, because I don't think Jake Elliott's a bad kicker at all off of really one. I don't know when's the last time he had a really bad game, kicking wise. I think he's only done it twice in his career, missing 2 or more, I think, in a game or something like that. But I really can't believe that speculation right now. Like I said, wait another game. If he starts to make the same mistakes in that Rams game, then I don't know, man. You might have to change kickers if that's going to be the case. We'll talk about that when the time comes, if that's even the case right now. But with Jake Elliott, I wouldn't make a big deal about it unless, like I said, it continues into a couple other games. And that's where we're going to be at right now, because people have been talking about it since last night. I mean, everything was to the left. Every kick was hitting the left side, left side. There was no wind last night. I don't think there was any wind. I didn't see any wind last night. So we'll see if the fan speculation is true, but I completely doubt, if the Eagles didn't have trust in their kicker, they would just get a new kicker. Why be overly aggressive in games just because you think your kicker can't make it or can't do anything? Okay, so I think that's a bunch of BS, a bunch of bullshit. So we're hoping Jake Elliott gets better from this, and I think he will. I just think it was a bad game. Okay. Lastly, okay, because there's gonna be a lot to talk about this week since the Eagles will be off. They'll have 10 days. They'll be off the weekend. They'll have 10 days of rest or whatever days of rest. Guys will get a lot. The Eagles came out of these games relatively healthy. Zack Baun I don't even know what to say anymore, man. This game for Zack Baun, okay, 15 tackles, 1 tackle for loss, 4th down stop, obviously, on that 4th and 2, and had a pass deflection. 15 tackles, okay? So Zack Baun in his career, okay, I don't know if this is just for this I think just for this season, okay, 102 total tackles, 64 solo tackles, first in the NFL, 3 forced fumbles, 1 pick, 2 sacks, okay, and 2 pass deflections. I mean, it's crazy, man. It's absolutely insane. He's got more tackles in 1 year with the Eagles under Vic Fangio than what he did in 4 years with the Saints. Yeah, I'm waiting. That piece of paper better be on the desk with the pen and sign the contract. This is the biggest protege player that turned out. I mean, this is a guy that's only making $1.6 million this year. That's it. $1.6 million. That's all you're paying him this year. And that price tag is going up. $8 million a year, $9 million a year, maybe that, Some fans were saying, oh, maybe he'll take less money. I'm like, no, he's not taking less money. Okay, the guy's never made a big contract in his career in 4 years, okay? He's going to have an opportunity to make as much money as he possibly can, and he 100% deserves it, 100%. Do not fumble the ball, Howie, on this and turn this to another TJ Edwards situation. I talk about the same situation all the time, okay? You have a better talent than TJ Edwards in the building right now, okay? Vic Fangio had his Van Ginkel on the Miami Dolphins that did nothing for 3 years. His 4th year, he became somebody. 53 pressures, 6 sacks for the year. Van Ginkel to Zack Baun with the Philadelphia Eagles is night and day. It's night and day. We signed Zack Baun to a 1-year, $1.6 million deal. I really did let it go in one ear, out the other, and kind of ignored it because I didn't really think this was going to turn into anything, which the original plans for Zack Baun were how he said he sees him as a backup outside linebacker to a special teams demon. And Fangio said, nope, I see a lot more from him. The man's never forced a fumble in his career before coming to Philadelphia. The man never played inside linebacker. He was a role player for the Saints. He was an edge rusher, transitioned to an outside linebacker, now an inside linebacker with the Eagles. It's a crazy story, man, that, he's a late bloomer. This would be the perfect time at 27 years old, perfect time to sign him, to a 3-year deal, something like that. I mean, Nakobe Dean had, what he had, 10 tackles. I mean, he had a great game too. So there are a lot of big decisions are going to have to get made here, but with Zack Baun at linebacker, this is one of your must re-signs of the season. And I'd rather happen before the season ends. This way, you don't want him to hit free agency. It's the last thing you want to happen. But man, I mean, I'm still shell-shocked over having the secondary that we have right now, how fast they play off the ball, the way they swarm violently to the running back, to the quarterback, making tackles. There's a presence felt here. There's an energy. There's a gritness to this defense under Fangio. There's we're not playing favorites. We're, guys that deserve to play, deserve to get more reps are getting the reps. There's no favorites in this building anymore. Like, it's amazing now. You got 2 studs at cornerback right now from the first and second rounds. The safeties are playing amazing. Reed Blankenship seems to be our closer right now. It's just amazing to watch. The defensive line is growing before our eyes. Nolan Smith getting better. Jordan Davis had a good game. Some really good stops. Jalen Carter, a beast. Josh Sweat having a really good year this year. So there's a lot of great things to take from it, but here's another philosophy the Eagles haven't done yet. They haven't paid a linebacker. It's not like they're not going to draft one early. Okay, they're set at a linebacker. They don't have to draft a linebacker next year. That's the greatest thing with Trotter Jr. behind there. Ben Van Simmeren is getting didn't get any fullback snaps last week, but I thought he played pretty damn I thought he's been doing a good job getting him involved in the offense a little bit. So they didn't put him in that fullback spot against Washington, but maybe he'll have another chance sooner or later. You paid a running back $12 million a year. That's one philosophy that, that changes philosophy on the running back situation. And now paying a linebacker is definitely, the last time the Eagles actually paid a linebacker, big money, I don't even remember. If it's big money, I don't even know, to be honest. Couldn't even tell you. Don't even remember. So get this done as fast as possible, man. It's just, he's just getting more expensive by every game that passes by. Maybe it's not even on the Eagles. Maybe the Eagles are trying to sign him. Maybe, maybe Zack Baun is maybe saying, I want to wait till the end of the year because I want my price to go up. Depending if he wants to go somewhere else, probably wants to stay in Philadelphia. And trust me, in his career, he's already been on one team for 4 years. He might want to say, you know what, this is probably the best spot for me under this coach. He might go to another team under a different coach and not be the player that he is. Some players just don't look the same, unfortunately. It depends on the scheme. It depends how they use you. He might not be that big-time player somewhere else. He could be a Vic Fangio-type player, And we'll see how it goes, man. But let me know what you guys think about Zack Baun. Let me know what you guys think about Ryan Fitzpatrick's words on Jalen Hurts and why Jalen Hurts doesn't get the respect that he deserves, and it's ridiculous. And obviously Jake Elliott. What do you guys think about that situation? How many more games do you give him? If he misses a kick next week, are you more worried? Do you feel like you have to kind of look for another kicker at that point? Will he get back to what he was? I'm not really worried about that too much. Let me know in the comment section below. Make sure you subscribe to the channel for more Eagles news every single day, and make sure you like the video because it helps out tremendously. Appreciate all the support. Appreciate everybody that was in the live stream on Thursday night, the Eagles and Commanders game. I want to thank everybody for supporting as usual, and love you all. And I will see you guys on the next one. Shakes what up, follow slide. Peace out, guys. Peace.